Hello, this is Dave from BetterChurchSound.com, and I'm here today with my lovely daughter Jillian, who is helping me out today. Today I'm going to talk about different type of audio connectors and how a little bit about wiring and different types of cabling and some of the problems that we encounter when we get out in the field and we start repairing stuff. So first we're going to talk a little bit about microphone connectors. The most common type of microphone connector, pretty much an industry standard, is called an XLR. And here, Jillian will hold these for me. There's a male, which has pins inside it pointing out, and a female, which is the receiver of the pins. Most common in the audio world is a 3-pin XLR. Now, in related worlds, Jilly's going to put them together. You can put them together, honey. There you go, line them up. And good ones like she's doing, they'll click. They'll click together so they're locked. And then you have to push this little button, and then they come apart. So those types of connectors with 3 pins are most common in audio for connecting microphones and doing long balanced runs of cables. And with a good microphone cable, you can literally run a microphone thousands of feet and have the quality of the signal still be there. And it does a good job if it's mated with the right type of cable, a 3-conductor cable, that it is good at rejecting outside interference, radio stations and hums and buzzes from lights and other things like that. Now we're going to look at another type of connector here that is very common also, and this is what's often called the 1/4-inch connector, or maybe a guitar connector or something like that. Sometimes called the phone plug, from back in the days when they were used for patching phone systems. But this is one that you'd commonly see to connect a guitar or a keyboard. And you can see here we pop the connector open. And this is just a 2-conductor cable. There's a tip and a sleeve. There's another configuration that I'll show you in just a second that has 3 conductors. This is good for short cable runs. And one important thing to be aware of is that you'll see these 1/4-inch 2-conductor cables used in both for speaker connections and for line level devices like guitars and keyboards and stuff. The cable that is used for them is not the same, although they might both look black and similar. This cable and this cable look very similar on the outside, but on the inside are not. Now if you want to zoom in here, you can kind of see here that coming out of here we have a twisted shield that wraps around, and then we have a wire that's in the center of that. That makes this a shielded cable, which makes it suitable for guitar or other line level instruments. Here on our speaker cable we have 2 wires that are side by side. Sometimes they're twisted around each other inside the jacket. This is not a shielded cable. It is quite suitable and designed for speaker connections, but not for line level stuff. So you shouldn't mix those up. If one is for speaker stuff, you should use it for speaker connections. The other is for line level devices. While we're talking about speakers here, this is a newer type of connection that has been making its way into the pro audio world and is made just for speaker connections. It is called a speak-on. This is a 4-pole connector. And here Jillian's sitting on a professional audio speaker here. The nice thing about this is that it locks in place, and if you're bi-amping your speaker cabinets, it can actually do both the highs and the lows all in one. So you can actually have 4 conductors in there, and then you can pull it out. Many of these are field serviceable. They have little screws inside them. A very well thought out connector. There's a larger speak-on one that's actually 8 poles, also a very well thought out connector. Does a nice job. The other things that you'll run into from time to time, this is a 1/4-inch connector that is balanced, or a tip ring sleeve. Sometimes people will think of this as a headphone connector, and that'll be used for stereo. So a lot of people will call this stereo, but in the pro audio world, this would be used for a balanced line very often, which would be tip ring sleeved and it could be run long distances. I'll get there. Then looking here, I'll show you, this is a plate that we pulled from a sound system installation, and you'll see a common problem when wiring these connectors, and this can happen in any connector. You see how far back the other installer or volunteer or whatever stripped the wire? By stripping so much of the insulation off, then when you turn these, what happens, you see it's very easy for one conductor to short to another, to short to another, and that is a very, very common problem that we see when we go in and look at other people's work, and it's something that's very easy to avoid. We even recommend this shield, or this braid sometimes that goes around the outside. We recommend covering that up in something. So if these do get twisted, they're not going to touch each other. They should only be exposing just the part that you're soldering on. That's something to always be aware of. One more type of connector that's common for interfacing things might be your 1/8 inch or mini headphone jack. Most often this is used to plug in something like, something like plugging into my iPhone here, so that you can take an audio out from your iPod or an MP3 player or a laptop. Sometimes you'll adapt it over to RCA connectors here, which is another more consumer grade connector, but definitely gets used in audio systems to connect CD players and other types of inputs. Sometimes you have to adapt these over to a 1/4 inch in order to use them. But this type of cable is designed for short runs, maybe up to 10 feet. Unlike the balanced lines that have 3 conductors in them, set up a little differently than this, that are better for long stuff. So I know that was a bunch of information. Hopefully this will help you. If you have other questions about what type of connectors to use, what types of cables to use, feel free to check out our website for any more information, or you can always give us a call at ProAV of Ohio Limited in New Philadelphia, Ohio, at 330-602-3214, or email me directly at dave@betterchurchsound.com. Hope this has been useful, and we'll talk to you soon.